Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Michelle McLean, your host for TIP Radio International podcast for top industry professionals, where we showcase professionals from around the world sharing their stories and experiences of success. So today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from Louisiana, who is such an inspiration for all around her. She is a board certified veterinary small animal surgeon taking care of our small little furry friends. Over the past decade, she has provided exemplary animal care and is medical director of her practice, Research Veterinary Surgical Specialist and Rehabilitation. She was honored at IAOTP's annual awards gala this past December in Nashville as Top Veterinary Surgeon of the Year, Empowered Woman of the Year, and this year she'll be honored as Veterinary Surgeon of the Decade and Top 50 Fearless Leaders for her outstanding leadership, dedication, and commitment to the industry. So a very, very warm welcome, Dr. Dena Lodato. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It's an honor.
It was so wonderful to see you. It was in New York, I think, at Fashion Week about a year ago. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see you in Nashville last year. But your pictures are absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. And I look forward to seeing you at the gala event in Las Vegas.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's going to be so exciting. How's it been, your experience being on the billboards and being a part of IOTP and the wonderful gala events that we have?
It's honestly, it's unbelievable. And I never, ever, ever, ever anticipated having the opportunities to be part of any of it. So I'm extremely grateful and honored that I was even considered and chosen.
Well, to be honest, when I first met you, I thought, I'm sure she's a movie star. I've seen you somewhere before. You're just incredible. I mean, just for all our listeners out there, just tell us the trajectory of your life. What made you do this, be in this industry, be a doctor, be a veterinarian, and did you always love animals?
I did. I actually grew up. We used to laugh about it and call it the zoo. So I've grown up with a myriad of different animals. Always had dogs, and ended up getting cats later on. And when I was a kid, it's funny. My mom actually had it framed for me when I was 7. At school, we had what do you want to be when you grow up? And I had this little drawing and everything. And it said I wanted to be a veterinarian so I could take care of puppies. And so when I was very, very young, I kind of decided, hey, I want to be a veterinarian. As I'd gotten older, I had some reservations and, worries. So I was like, well, maybe not. So when I got into high school, I decided I was like, no, this is what I want to do. So after high school, I actually took a year off to make sure before I embarked on everything that this was what I really wanted to do. And at that point, decided, yeah, this is it. And went to undergrad, majored in animal science with a pre-veterinary option, and after undergrad, took another year off and was a veterinary technician during that year just to make sure that this was really what I wanted to do, especially with having knowing the both scholastic and financial drain that it would be. And then at that point, ended up applying for veterinary schools. I was lucky enough to get in on my first try and started vet school. And then the summer between my first and second year, I got bit by the surgery bug. And at that point, it was all over. At that point, I knew. I was like, yep, this is what I want to do. I want to do surgery. And then at that point, just put my nose to the grindstone and went headlong into um, working towards internships and residencies and all of that. So it's been a long road. My mom at one point asked me how long after high school did I go to school/training, and I realized that it was longer than I had been in school altogether. So.
Wow. You look so young. You would never
Oh, you're
say
very
that.
sweet.
Oh my gosh. What university did you go to?
My undergrad, I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey. And for vet school, I went to Mississippi State University. And I really liked their program. I'm a hands-on learner. So, and there's program at that time was the one that you got the most clinical experience. So I knew that was what I wanted to do.
And so, I come from Africa, I come from Namibia, and there's always vets that come through to Namibia to help out with, the anti-poaching and to, they're obviously exotic animals. Have you ever done any work like that? Have you worked with exotic animals?
I have for a little, usually more so in vet school. I did a little bit. At this point, we usually actually veterinarians have a specialty for exotics. I actually have a friend who does that, and he works at a zoo. So I went there one time, and I was like, "All right, this is really cool." But I do have we have around the area, there's a couple zoos and everything. So I'll sometimes get phone calls from veterinarians asking, hey, what's your thought process on fixing this fracture or something like that. So I unfortunately don't get to do hands-on with them at this point in my career, but I help as much as I can.
So I'm just wondering, what is your least favorite animal to work with? Like, for instance, I'm just petrified of snakes. I don't want them near me. But
Yeah. So one, if anybody asked me about a tarantula, I would probably hang up.
what would
But
you have to do with a tarantula? Like dangle it by its legs and go, what's
I assumed
going
everything
on?
was fine. I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm
Yeah.
sure if they break a leg, they'll grow one back.
You're not gonna say, oh, just kill it. Just
But
run over it. It's
a
fine.
new one? Yeah. No, they deserve they deserve care too. I just not from me. I can't do it. I would probably be crying the entire time. But no, probably my least favorite animal. Um, when I was in vet school, there was a Komodo dragon, and I would. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. This is
They
not my.
they look scary for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'd be the one that would get bitten. I would not, mm-mm.
Well, I've got a really funny story. My father's a chiropractor, and
Okay.
in Namibia, he practices there, he lives there.
Yeah.
And he had very interesting experiences over the years, but the one most interesting experience was someone came along with their pet gecko. And I don't know if you know what a gecko is. It's like a little, yeah, it's like a little lizard. It's not, no, actually it wasn't. It was a chameleon. And it was a pet
Oh, okay. Yeah.
chameleon. And they're really beautiful and they're very slow and whatever. And they said, look, we don't know what's wrong with it. I think it fell and it broke its back. Can you help it? So my dad had to adjust a chameleon.
That's amazing.
But yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to begin on that one. Props to your
Yeah.
dad, man.
Like adjusted slowly. But anyway, on that note, so what would your advice be to anyone who would like to join this veterinary medicine profession?
My biggest advice would be don't give up. It's a long and grueling, as my mother reminds me. I love my mom, I do. But she's like 13 years past high school. Um, but it's never give up. If it's what you want to do, you'll have the trials and tribulations, but it's only, in my mind, it's only meant to test you and solidify your resolve in going to vet school and going through all of it. One grades, absolutely, yeah, for sure. But, like I said, you need to have that tenacity because that will give you the drive to go through all of the applications, to go through the testing. And especially if you want to go on and specialize, you need to have that determination and stubbornness almost to be able to push through the days when you're like, this is one of those days you need to put it behind you and keep going. The biggest trait that I would tell anybody who wants to be a veterinarian or get into veterinary medicine, the best trait you need is compassion,
Mm,
because you have people, it's funny because a lot of, we'll have a lot of people that will come to shadow that are in high school or college because they want to see what everyday life is like in a veterinary hospital. And, they're like, well, I want to be a vet because I don't want to deal with people. And that is the exact opposite of what actually happens, because you have, and the other thing, like I said, this was where that compassion comes in, because I know, at least with my animals, and I know with a lot of people, they're part of the family. And you're trying to help a member of your family who's hurting. They can't tell you what's wrong.
mm,
All you see is that they're hurt or they're not feeling well. And people, especially when they're stressed and they don't know how to help, it can sometimes unfortunately bring out the worst in people. And a lot of the times it's getting past if they're not being kind. It's getting past that initial, like, well, the reason that they're not at their best is because they have this horrible thing going on in their life that they don't know how to handle, and they're coming to you for help.
mm.
And it's putting aside sometimes, I mean, they can, like, it hurts your feelings sometimes,